Okay, so first question I saw was from Tomar. You said you had a question. So what's on your mind, Tomar?
Hi, Ted. Yeah, I wrote it 3 times because I thought I had to write a whole novel about it. First of all, thank you. I've been binge watching your videos recently. I feel like I've gotten a graduate education in marketing for free, Ted. So much appreciation to you as always. Here's what it is. You've convinced me to do a signature talk. I'm really excited about it. You've convinced me to create a starter kit.
Oh,
I'm
hey.
really excited about it. I have a whole, it all, the pieces fit together in a way that I
Oh,
love. There's one thing, though, that kind of makes my heart sink, which is when you say, take your signature talk and tour it around. Those words, tour it around, actually make me think, well, that's not for me. I can't do that. So I've never been a tour it around kind of person. And, I have less energy now as I get older. Now, I know that there are people I could find who could host what I want to do. I just don't do that. I haven't done that. I think it's one of my neuroses about not asking for help, but it's also feels like a lot more work. I love the idea that I could take the signature talk and make it part of the starter kit and offer it in different ways without having to quote tour it around. So I just want your input about that because you put such an emphasis on hubs and people to help you. And I'm an introvert and I don't like to ask for help.
okay. Well, there's a few options here. So you understand what I'm saying, tour it, I mean virtually, not live in a big gathering.
Yes, I do know
Okay.
that. Mhm.
So so just so everyone understands the context we're talking about, the idea of a signature workshop, this is something actually Bradley Morris and I are putting together a big training, mostly him actually, I'm just helping out. And here's the link to it. This is happening in September. There's a rolling early bird, so you save, it goes up $100 every month. So you can save a little bit if you join now. And so that's happening in September. And we're doing some free events in the lead up to that. And those are here in this link. So what is a signature workshop? Basically, it's an hour-long presentation where you give the Coles notes of here's how I see the situation I help people with. I don't know anything better for marketing as a service provider than doing a signature workshop. Just getting in front of people and talking about your work, talking about your take on things. I think it's the best option that we have. I think it's better than just about everything, including podcasts and being interviewed on podcasts. I think this is a better idea, higher leverage. If only because people, on podcasts, they're listening passively while they're driving, and a live workshop, they're often there tracking it. They're in person, not just recorded later.
Mm.
So you're likely to get more response. There's a lot to say about how it's put together. Basically, it's four elements. You tell briefly your story, you share your point of view, you give them some experience that helps them really get what you're talking about beyond just in their head. And then you tell them what else you've got. Yeah, story, point of view, experience, your pitch. That's the thing. And anyways, you can check out the free events Bradley and I are doing. Check out the program. But one of the suggestions in there is that you take it on the road, and so people bring you in and host you and say, "Oh, I've got 300 people in my audience," and they show up live. You don't market it; those people market it, and you bring your signature workshop to them. So if you don't want to do that, Ross O'Loughlin, a colleague of mine, had a great notion that he basically creating a starter kit. He had a 3 hour workshop, and he would still do hubs, but he would ask them to just promote the starter kit. Basically, he'd promote this webinar, which was recorded. But he didn't do it again every time. So he would just send people to the recording, which is another option. I don't know if it's as strong as doing it live. I haven't done tests on that or seen metrics. But hey, in a pinch, if you can send people to something like that, it's great. Now, when I say starter kit, so everyone knows what I mean, this is a very in the last year, it's a new idea for me, and I don't feel like I've really done it justice. But where it comes from is most of the kind of pink spoon free samples, opt-in things, join my email list, get this gift, are just fairly weak. They're fairly just not that robust. It's a PDF, it's 2 pages, it's a chart, it's not, you get it and it's a little disappointing often. And so my thought was to give something more robust. And where it came from for me is I had the full recording of my day-long workshop, the Marketing for Hippies 101 workshop, which I sold for $80 on my website. People paid $300 for in person. And I decided to just give it away for free. So if you go to my website, it's right on the homepage, starter kit. And that has done very well for me. People really love that that offer. Now I'll show you kind of what's in it. I'll just do a little screen share so you can see. But again, this is new. I mean, I'm not saying what I've nailed it on this, but so there's a little intro video. Here's the model. I've just added this. This is an hour long of my new signature workshop, hour-long workshop. I've also a little video where I simplify this into just 3 stages instead of 5. Then here's the 2.5-hour workshop. And then there's a bunch of bonus stuff in there. So, and the $50 off coupon, which we're going to experiment making that 50% off. And then if you want help and you want to book a puttering session, it's all there. So it's just giving them a generous 30,000-foot view. And so the chances are your signature workshop will be more robust than your starter kit will be more robust than the signature workshop. But this is the way I'll probably be doing it when I do tour signature workshops around. I'll say, hey, thanks for coming. Check out the starter kit. It's got a recording of this plus much more. And for free, right? Give them a chance to really swim around in the waters of my work and see if it's a fit or not. So I just want to make sure everyone knew. So Tomer, how does that sound, the idea of having the starter kit and getting other people to promote it?
Well, there's still the getting other people to promote it part that I feel like not fully confident about.
What
So this is
what is it about it that holds you back? Because I mean, certainly you'll just tap out your own list at some point. I mean, I guess the third option is you could do Facebook ads. And how do you feel
right,
about that?
right. So here's another. I don't feel good about Facebook ads because I think I'm going to waste the money because I don't really know how to do them. I have to hire somebody to do it for me. So I'm trying to put that off as long as possible. Here's what I am thinking about is really getting busy on YouTube and creating a lot of YouTubes with titles that will attract my audience because it's a match for what they're looking for. And having in the description of the YouTube video where to go to get this. Another thing I'm planning to do is create a free Facebook group for my niche and tell them they have to do this. Basically, this is what you have to do. This is your first step as you get the starter kit. And I'm going to use a few little tactics to grow the Facebook group. I forget if there was, and then, things like being interviewed on podcasts, things like that. Now, it's not that I couldn't ask people. I just don't have that list and I don't really have that mindset. I'd have to
What's the difference between asking somebody if you can be on their podcast versus asking them to host a signature workshop?
Yeah, I just don't know. It feels like it's a bigger ask. And I don't know why. I don't know if the people that I would know do that, like host other people for their audience. I'd have to really do some research and see if that's a thing in my world.
Well, let me make a distinction here that may be helpful is there's often in sales that you got to ask for the sale. You got to ask for the business. And there's probably a truth in that. There's a place where that actually makes sense. But if I was approaching somebody about a signature workshop, my approach would not be to ask them to host it.
Okay.
That is too big an ask.
Okay.
Right off the top. What I am asking is, would they be open to that? Is that the kind of thing they do? I'm trying to see if it's a fit. first. I just did a little write up around, in marketing, people will say the reason marketing feels so bad is because you're coming from a place of getting, not giving. Yeah.
Mm.
And there's something there, but I want to suggest there's a third G that's missing entirely from that a formulation, which is important because the emphasis on starting with giving can make people very uncomfortable. We've all been on the receiving end of a generosity that didn't make sense to us, and now you feel indebted. Somebody says, "Hey, just come and I'll give you a free 3 hour coaching session." And some part of you is like, "What's the catch?" And even if you don't think there's a catch, you're just like, "Do I want to feel this indebted to this person? Because I'm going to feel like I owe them something." So, and you can also waste your time giving a lot of free sessions to people who aren't even a fit. So instead of focusing on, I mean, if you focus on getting, and just trying to take from people, that doesn't work. Focusing on giving, probably your chances are better. But here's a third one you can focus on that is dramatically better, is gauging.
Mm.
Gauging is just, is this a fit or not? That's the skill. And if you're going to put them in an order, it's giving, or it's gauging, giving, and getting. But the getting is out of your control. Maybe they sign up with you, maybe they don't. But you start with the gauging before you give anything. So anyway, all that to say is if I'm reaching out to them about a signature workshop, I'm just seeing, would you want to host this? Is this a fit for your people? And if not, no problem. I'm not even asking them to do it. I'm just gauging the temperature on it. And what Bradley suggests is if you reach out to somebody for a podcast interview, you can just also say, look, I also have this signature workshop. I don't know if this would be a fit. By the way, that little phrase I popped at the end there, I don't know if this is a fit. You might all just want to check out on YouTube. If you go to YouTube, just search Tad Hargrave pressure reducing phrases. There's 2 videos. There's a number of these phrases you can put in, and they sound like nothing, but they make an enormous difference. But, something like, yeah, thanks, I'd be happy to be on your podcast. That'd be great. And, I've got this signature workshop on this topic or adjacent to it. I don't know if it's a fit for your people. It's an hour long. It'll be free. If you're interested, we could do this maybe before we do the interview, and then that might give us more to talk about. I could share this with your people, and I can send you a recording of it or a summary of it. No pressure at all, only if it's a fit. But if it's on topic and they like the premise of it, if they like your take on it, there's a solid chance they might, they might not, but they might. And then you get the double whammy, right? You present to their people, then they interview you after and get to ask you all the follow-up questions. So that's
when it comes to hosting a signature workshop, what's in it for them?
Well, that they look, there's a couple things. One, they just look good to their people. If they bring in, like when I brought in Jeffrey Van Dyke to, some of you may know him at the courageousmessenger.com, I think is his website. He talks about the wound and niche piece. He's the master. I'm barely qualified to carry his shoes on that one. And I brought him in. He did a 90-minute, 2-hour presentation to my people. And I had people thanking me profoundly for bringing him in. So that's one of the things that's in it, is if you really crush it, if you have something you can deliver on, and you can make that host look good, that's a win for them. The other thing could be, is like, look, if anyone signs up for my larger package program after, I can give you a cut. So you can do an affiliate deal in the back end. So even though the signature workshop is free, they get paid for people who sign up for your whatever program. So that's another thing that can be in it for them. But one of the main things at the most basic level is we just want to make it easy for them. So this is where all the swipe copy, like, hey, here's the page. Like Bradley has a page, and in the workshop thing that we're doing this fall, they'll guide you through how to create your page where here's the photos, here's the text, here's everything you need to promote it. You just don't want them to have to write anything. What I want as a host is, this will take 30 seconds of my time, and I'm going to make hundreds of dollars, or I'm just going to look amazing to my people. I don't always myself need to make money on something. Like I'm hosting a guy, Adam, Wilder from the UK. He's going to do a presentation, I think in September, on the wheel of consent. I'm making nothing on that. I'm not charging anything for it. Or am I? Maybe I am. Oh, that's the other thing. In that one, I'm just charging 25 bucks, I think, and I make money. But I've hosted so many people and I don't charge, and but I look good.
So when you say you host, I mean, now you have this community, but you
Yeah,
didn't before. Is it just doing a Zoom interview with them?
basically. Or they just do a presentation. Yeah.
Right. I mean, like you introduce them and then they take it from there, kind of thing. So it's not really anything different than you just send out an email to your list
Yeah.
and you say, I'm doing, this guy is going to do this. And
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like you have to have this structure where you host inside a container of a certain kind.
No, it can be very chill. And you might be, by the way, one of the only, if you're going to a podcast, you might be the only person that's ever asked them.
Okay.
You know,
Would would it make sense for me to do a little research and find out, does this person ever do this?
you could, but you could just ask. I just think it's simpler to say, I've got this thing. I don't know if it's a fit, but here's the
Mhm.
deal. You know, it's on this topic. Here's the kind of the core premise behind it.
Mhm.
Here's
Okay.
here's a 5 minute video that summarizes the idea, or some text that summarizes the idea. If you're interested, let me know. Um, if it's on point, if it's
It's on
if
point.
somebody came to me and they said, I'm trying to think of something that my people struggle with that I don't help with.
Right.
But like Laura Eastburn, who's somebody, by the way, if any of you're interested in doing Facebook ads, this is a woman who's fantastic at it. LauraEastburn.com. But if she came to me and said, Tad, I've developed a signature workshop on doing Facebook ads in my approach, and that you've already interviewed me, but I've got a lot of new thoughts I want to put together. Do you want to host it for your people? I'd probably say yes. And especially if she made it easy and gave me all the images and
Mhm.
swipe copy, I'd say, yeah, okay, no skin off my nose. And she says, yeah, it'd be free. And but if somebody signs up, I'll give you a cut. I'd say, great, no problem.
Right, right, right. Okay, so I guess the next thing, when I'm ready to do this, is just have to find out who are the potential hosts out there for me, I have to really research that.
Yeah, and I would just start with the podcast people.
Yeah.
If you're already
Okay.
doing that research, start with them. And the other thing for everybody, when you're looking at hosts, this is worth the price of admission today. Yeah,
Okay.
is this will sound like nothing, but I'm telling you, this is something. Once you have a connection with that host, at some point when it feels appropriate, you say, who else should I talk to? Can you think of anyone else who might be interested in hosting this workshop? If you just get 2 or 3 names, that's because then when you send out the email, it's, hey, John Smith sent me,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, yeah,
And like if I got an email that said, hey, Mark Silver sent me, one of my dearest colleagues, I just, of course, I'd open
yeah,
it.
yeah.
So you can get that. And then when you talk to those people, if you feel like the vibe is right, you say, hey, is there anyone else you think might be interested in this? And you on and on and on.
Got it. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Ted. I think the most helpful thing for me is starting with the people who do podcasting because they already have a doorway that they're
Totally.
expecting people to knock on, right? It's
Yeah,
not like out of the blue, she's asking for something weird that I don't do.
no,
So that's what I would do. I'll start with looking for the appropriate people who do podcasts.
no.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Good to see you again.
Great to see you, Ted.
Okay.